Tears of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Being broadcast live tonight, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And also in on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. And subscribe if you want alerts and everything. Yeah, make sure you click on the bell. So hello. And no matter how you are hearing me, make sure you stop in one of the chat rooms and say hi. Or send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY at gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, you can check out Etsy. It's etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio with MTN for Mountain. You can also go to patreon.com/TheSpacesBetween. Or if you want to just send your cash donation, which I'm okay with that too, it is $TheSpacesBetween. That's the cash tag. TheSpacesBetween. So yeah, very cool. And with all the ooga booga and the stuff going around, you may need some iLife in your world. So check out iLife.com. That is the official sponsor of Truth Frequency Radio. And let's see, the phone line is open tonight, so you can dial 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, it is 44203. Let's try this again. 44203-393-2871. I blinked and I lost my brain. It's been a long day. I don't know why. Hello. So I hope y'all are having just a fantabulous day. If you are someplace in the world where you can check out the meteor shower going on right now, that would be super duper cool. I would love pictures. It's the Geminid meteor shower, so it's coming out of the Gemini constellation roughly, and the peak will be on the 13th, thereabouts. So late Sunday night, early Monday morning. And yeah, it'll be just, should be really, really freaking awesome in theory. And then I understand that the Northern Lights that were out and about earlier this week really didn't show up quite like everybody hoped. But the season is young. And those solar storms are still happening, and it is quite possible you will see them yet. So don't give up hope. It'll happen. They are pretty freaking awesome. Here in North Idaho, where I live, I've seen them several times. Growing up, we used to go climb up on top of the barn and just sit and watch them all night long. And yeah, they're just so cool. I've heard the jingles with the Northern Lights, and I've actually been able to be. It was the most bizarre thing. So, 30 years ago, how old am I? Yeah, about that. 30 years ago, I was with my dad and my grandfather, and we were going up to my mom's house, and a big wave of blue Northern Lights crossed the road, and we parked right in the middle of the flash. It was just wild. It was an electric blue color, and just out in the country. So yeah, it was beautiful, very, very beautiful. Let's see. And sometimes open water does not help. Sometimes it does. Sometimes mountains help. It all depends on your atmospheric conditions, of course, to see the Northern Lights. Because, yeah, if there's a little bit of overcast, it definitely makes it harder to see. Or if there's too much light pollution, it makes it a lot harder to see than the Northern Lights. So there are quite a few websites that you can check out that will give you alerts and that kind of things when the northern lights are coming. So, no. Why are you turning the lights on there, Mr. Don?
It's too dark. Everything's too dark. Yeah, much better.
Okay.
Now people can actually see you.
Oh, well, I could see me just fine.
Cool for you.
Yeah, turn up your, I don't know, screen. I don't know.
The screen's all the way up.
Oh, let's see. So, we have been doing an Elements series. So, last week we did
Fire and Earth.
Fire and Earth.
So pay attention.
Yeah, which is good. And then, so tonight we're going to do water. And then tomorrow night we will do air. And then we will do spirit next week. Yeah. Anything else that I need to know or remember to talk about?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I supposed to remember something you're not?
I don't know.
I don't either. Can you turn up my headset?
Sure.
Number 1.
There's that better?
Always number 1. More. Thank you.
All right.
Gosh, now I can hear.
All right. Definitely a little harder hearing in your elder years, eh? Don't give me that tone
Maybe
of
it's not
voice.
hard of hearing. Maybe it's you just keep knocking the stupid box over.
Yeah, that could be.
And it's all, I got to get a new one.
Well, you know, maybe
Those boxes
if
ain't cheap, you know.
I was using my extension cord instead of you.
You know where they are.
Yeah, it's plugged into your headset.
You know where to get another one. Goodness. Hi, all out there in the lands. Who's in TFR?
TFR, I see Bam and Boy Solo.
Hi, Bam.
Paradoxic. Hold on. I gotta make this bigger. So Boy Solomon, Paradoxical Anomaly, Nightshade, All One, and Glitch in the Matrix.
Good names. All good names.
Yeah. Deb says we have to play nice.
That's no fun.
Well, you know. Oh, you know what? Did you know January 1st is a Friday?
Okay.
So, should we have a big birthday party for you?
Why?
Because it's your big birthday on Friday the 1st?
Are you trying to say I'm over the hill on Friday? The 1st?
Maybe.
Do you realize that's only like 3 weeks away?
It is. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yay, 2020 is almost over.
Yay.
You know, if New Year's Eve had been on a Friday, yes, or a Saturday, I would have stayed up and done the New Year's show without a doubt. But I think this year I just want to drink in the new year and celebrate the passing of 2020.
Oh, yes, that's actually a good idea.
Because, yeah.
We got to get a hold of our friend Justin.
Yes, Justin, thank you for your gift package. It was quite fun and amusing.
She tried to kill me.
I did not try to kill you. It's not my fault you couldn't stop laughing because of your visualization of being shaved aggressively.
Oh, no.
So, have you guys ever seen Monsters Inc.
Inc.
The movie? So, of course, they're highly allergic to children in the first part of the movie, and so one of the fuzzy monsters gets a child's sock on his back, and the secret agents, special agents, whatever, come along and shave him and put the cone of shame around his neck, and he's got a Band-Aid on it and stuff. So, but yeah, shaved aggressively. You had to be there. It was hilarious. I thought Dom was going to puke. He was laughing so hard. So, yeah. So, yes. Thank you, Justin. That was fun. Maybe next time we'll have to video it.
No. No. No, that's not needful. Hey, Bomber, can you message me about what you just said? That'd be great. Anyhow.
Okay, so yes, Don will be 50. And, yeah, let's see. Am I missing anything in the chat?
No, they're just all saying hi to
Okay.
everybody.
Yeah. Lunatic?
Lunatic Fringe.
Oh, gotcha.
It's the name of the song.
Okay. Alrighty. So, water. The element of water. So, what do we know about water? Well, it's one of those things we have to have. It's one of the essentials to surviving. You can go without food for longer than you can go without water.
Mm-hmm.
And water, it's pretty basic. Everybody knows what it is. It's that wet stuff that falls from the sky most of the time.
That's illegal to harvest.
In Oregon.
In a lot of places, actually.
Aren't you glad we live in Idaho where we're just kind of rebellious and we buck the system all the time?
I'll just leave that one line right there.
Yeah, you can still harvest rainwater here. Let's see. Anyway, so yeah, water. Most people assume that, Earth is the strongest element. But when you stop and think about it, if you've ever gone hiking in some place where there are mountains or cliffs or canyons or anything like that, you can see pretty much where water has just sliced through the earth and has altered the landscape. Here in North Idaho, we've got Lake Pend Oreille and the Monarch Mountains, which is why it's Monarch Mountain Studio. And once upon a time, there's a big old inland sea here that was blocked by ice flows. And when the weather shifted, because of global warming from the dinosaur farts, you never know, right? I mean, they're saying it's cow farts now. But anyways, the ice dam broke and water poured from the inland sea out towards the Pacific, and it cut just right through the rock. And there's glaciers and everything. And so when you stop and think about it, water is, I think, probably the strongest of the elements, just because it can alter the landscape either in the liquid form, running water, in solid form, the glaciers, or in the gaseous form, steam. Because if you've ever been to Yellowstone, you can tell the landscape can be changed significantly by, exploding steam. Sorry, distracted by the cat. There's two of them right now. So when we think about water and working with the element of water, besides being a necessity, you can do a lot of things with it. I mean, here we talk about moon water quite a bit, especially as we're around the full moon. But you can make moon water in the new moon as well. It's just because water is very, very cleansing, and if you're having just kind of a crap day or have a crap situation happen to you, just a good way to let it go is just to wash your hands and let all of that stuff, rinse away. Set your intention, wash your hands, and let all that crap flow away down the drain and leave. And it's just really, really potent and just important and potent. Water itself is very cleansing. It's very healing. It's psychic, and it's considered a very loving element. You think about showering love and affection upon someone. It's even though the mental image is like hugs and kisses and flowers and all that stuff. Because you're showering that affection. It's falling out of the sky like rain. So that feeling kind of pours over us. Um, and when we swim in it, it supports us, and allows us to, or helps us to float when we're thirsty. It quenches our thirst, and the rain or dew that comes along and waters our crops, and everything else. It's just one of those things. We got to have it. It's everywhere. Even in the desert, there's still water. A little harder to find because it doesn't generally show up in big puddles like the big lake we have here, but it's still there. You can still harvest the moisture from the air. The dew point or the humidity in the desert is quite low, but a drop here and a drop there eventually adds up to gallons. But the energy of the water or the power of the water, often you can taste it in pure spring water or pure well water, good well water. I know, like here, we have a well, and the water to me just tastes very, very sweet and energetic.
Lead pipes.
Sure. The house was built in the 70s, not the 60s. At least we don't have the lead, drainage pipes anymore. Blasted things. Anyways, if you've ever stood in a river or a creek or at the beach, feeling the ocean waves against you, you can feel the power of the water and the forces of the water. And the coolness allows.
Everything just moves.
Well, yeah, it moves. I keep moving things because I'm cleaning. I thought you liked sitting in the shadow. I am. You keep moving things. So, anyways, when if you're feverish and your kids are feverish or whatever, and you have a damp washcloth, you're soothing their fever with a damp cloth. It's just that loving touch. It's fluidity. It's just that energy, because people are made up of mostly water, so that we're often really, really in tune with the lunar cycles, the solar cycles, and the energies of the earth, just because as the lunar cycles happen, that same ebb and flow with the moon, our bodies do the same thing. Anybody who's ever participated or been a part of law enforcement or the healthcare system, they will tell you that people go just absolutely bat poop crazy during the full moon. It happens. Which makes me giggle when I say water is a feminine element, because there are probably quite a few more crazy women out there than there are crazy men, or else they're more known for it. Anyways, water is the element of emotion and subconscious, purification and intuition, mysteries of self, compassion, and family. So, but yeah, purification, do you do the cleansing, whether it's, just washing your hands to get rid of this, the short stuff, or cleansing of self when you're taking a shower, getting rid of the dirt. Diesel Pete, sorry, it's a cat. He's about 6 months old and he's an idiot.
I just got attacked by him.
He's fast and
His claws clipped.
He's a cat. Anyways, so blah 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 blah. Purification, cleansing, yes. Water is good for cleansing wounds and washing the dirt out of your wounds. So, I mean, sure, you can cleanse a wound with whiskey, but you'll notice it, and you can't have the whiskey if you didn't have water to begin with. So, water is often associated with psychic powers or intuition, just because it flows and connects everything. And it's often used as a means of scrying because, yeah, you can see all sorts of things in the water. It's really good as a tool for meditation. And water is very, very important in spells and rituals, especially when it comes to friendship or marriage, fertility, healing type rituals, and often even your spell magic or your mirror magic, the reflection of curses and such. Water will help cleanse of the negativity and then repel the curse and then push it right back towards the person who sent it to you. So water is often considered a very passive element, contrary to, say, fire, for instance, because fire is very much a devouring thing.
So aggressive and passive aggressive.
Sure.
We'll just move this little by little. Fire's like, now let's just take it all down.
Fire. Yeah, exactly. Water's also associated with qualities of like darkness and thickness and motion. So, like here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of rivers that are very turbulent and are used for rafting and kayaking, extreme kayaking, that kind of thing. And often, people assume the rapids are the dangerous parts. And yes, they sure are because, they're rapids. But often when the rapids end and the water becomes still, it's the things that are happening underneath the surface of the water that are harder to figure out, and can often be more stressful. And whether there's an undertow or there's just it looks calm and still, but there's a lot of energy underneath. So depending on your location in the world, because it does vary a little bit, generally water is associated with the west or the place of the setting sun. But in some traditions, it may be east, especially if you live on the East Coast, or north or south, depending on where you're at. It's considered a receptive type of energy. It's a very flowing, purifying, soothing energy as well. Nature, that's the nature of it. Blue is generally the color that we associate with water. And you can get water from pretty much anywhere. In rituals, it's used again for the purification, love, psychic awareness, etc. And you can use it for diluting tinctures or other elements for in a ritual, or by submerging into the water itself. Whether bathing or washing away, the negativity or the energy. Let's see. Different herbs that are associated with water would be things like water lilies or seaweed, perhaps succulents or lettuces, and also loving, as in like rose and gardenia, and often just flowers are associated with the element of water. Transparent or translucent stones such as amethyst and aquamarine or blue tourmaline are the stones that are generally considered water or related to water. Resonating metals, like the bowl, are considered fluid and part of the water element. The cat, frog, turtle, dolphin, whale, otter, seal, and pretty much your fish and shellfish are all considered animals associated with the water element as well.
No kidding.
Yeah, generally. Deb in the chat room says, make sure you're using moving water so it isn't stagnant. Very, very true. Yeah, stagnant water tends to drift towards decay. And when it comes to cleansing are using water for cleansing, like your stones, that kind of thing, yes, just running water is very, very good for that. Now, you need to double check with some of your stones should not be submerged into water because they will melt. Selenite, for instance, does not do well in water. It will melt and you'll have selenite sludge, and it's not very cleansing. So, and selenite itself, just by default, is a cleansing stone and doesn't need to be cleansed.
It's
So,
like washing soap.
exactly. Okay, Chandler. Or Joey. Joey was the one that needed to wash the soap, or Chandler did it, whatever. So, yeah, just be aware of which stones you're putting into the water. I'm going to stop there because it's almost time for our first break. Can you believe it?
Hmm.
I tell you, that first half hour just screams by.
Sure.
Well, don't yawn anymore.
I'm trying not to. It's a thing though.
Or Bomber's going to come up with a drinking game for you there.
No, it's cha-cha. It's that kind of stuff.
All right, so we will be right back after this break. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the. I gotta tell you, it's weird to not have Titan ask a question in the chat room.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where he is?
No.
Okay.
I didn't know I was the keeper tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're the keeper. Don't you know that?
I'm not the one who's always online. I'm not the one who's
I
always doing shows.
have a job all day
I
today.
do too.
Yeah, everybody misses Titan's questions. Let's see. So when it comes to we're talking about water. Water. When it comes to magical tools, the cup or the cauldron is the most often associated tool with water. Rituals, often a shell, sometimes an abalone shell or just a shell is replaced with your cup to symbolize the water. Let's see. Goddesses associated with water are Aphrodite, Isis, Mariamne, Mary, Tiamat. Gods would be Dylan, Osiris, Neptune, and Poseidon, of course. So Osiris. I know, right? It's not his fault he drowned.
He wasn't drowned. He was cut to pieces and thrown into the ocean. And then Isis harvested the sea foam and had kids.
So, his water. So Ethan wants to know: is water an element, a magical element? Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's coming up with questions. Yes, anything could be used as a cauldron. I do generally recommend a metal cauldron versus like a non-metal one. I suppose you could use ceramic, but just be careful because you can't. I wouldn't use a plastic cup for your cauldron because it'll melt. Because often you're putting your cauldron either over the fire or putting the fire in the cauldron. My singing bowl could be a cauldron. You'd probably get in trouble though.
Yep.
A lot.
Yep.
I have no. I'd grab my. I have a little brass pot that I use for a type of sort of a cauldron. It's where I put incense ashes or spent matches, that kind of thing. Used up, just I'll probably burn it or something later. Let's see. What was the other question? What, anything? Magical element? Yeah, water's a magical element. Have you ever listened to the sound of the falling rain? That sounds pretty magical to me.
Sounds like a song to me.
Yep, there's that too. Let's see. So, yeah, Lewis says that he thought the cauldron was for brewing potions and spells. Yeah, so you can do that. You can brew and mix things into the cauldron and put it over the fire, so that it gets hot and that kind of thing. However, you can also put the fire into the cauldron just because sometimes you're in a place where you want an itty-bitty, teeny-tiny fire rather than a big one. Balmer asks, do you ever burn rosin? And if yes, what do you use it for and what kind do you burn? So I have some pine pitch rosin that I use that I collected myself. And then I have frankincense, and I also use cobalt, C-O-B-A-L, cobalt. How do you pronounce it? C-O-B-A-L. Cobalt.
What is cobalt?
Cobalt is copal, not cobalt. Copal, C-O-P-A-L. It is a sweet rosin. It's piney and lemony also. Is used more in the Americans than other places. It burns kind of fast. The Mayan and Aztec cultures used it. So yeah, it's just another type of incense. And if you're burning incense as a offering to either the deities or the spirits, that kind of thing, that's what I generally use my rosins for. Oh, is that the answer? Is that the question? Did I answer the question? Let's see.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just checking. Da, da, da. Okay, so yeah. I don't know. I really like the pitch rosin. To me, it smells like a campfire. So it's kind of that comforting smell of a campfire, I guess. Same with copal. I don't use the frankincense as much just because it's a very strong smell to me. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, moving on. Let's see. If you... Oh, what do I use it for? Like, how do I... Oh. All right, so how do I burn my rosin? So in most of your esoteric or religious type shops, you should be able to get these little briquettes. They're a 50-cent piece in circumference. And mine on a little tray, and I light it and on top of it. And I have a spoon that I use that's specifically for my powdered rosins that I have, or right onto the briquette directly, charcoal briquette, and it lights really quickly, often faster than lighting a stupid candle. So, yeah. You could use an incense burner. There's different ones. They have that'll look like a little bitty cauldron or a little bitty pot, with a screen over the top of some sort, a grid or a mesh, and it just allows the air to flow around the briquette appropriately. And then the little pot, of course, catches the ash so you don't make a mess, or if little pieces fall down, it's a metal pot so it doesn't burn stuff. So yes, I hope that helped. Bummer. Let's see. Water's generally and if you guys have more questions, just throw them in the chat. And if I don't see them, Don might. And if you do, give a call in, because the call lines are open. Okay. Poke at me in the chat room. So
Gently, not repeatedly.
Yes, gently. Yeah, basically charcoal pucks. So I've used bombers. Was looking for a little more information where I would burn it on. If you've got an old saucer you could use, or a teacup if you wanted to.
Abalone, oyster.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Scalp is pretty cool too. They're huge.
Mm-hmm. Mostly you're going to want something that's heat resistant, because the briquette can get pretty doggone hot. So
it's on fire.
Yeah. If you are in the Midwest and you have access to hedgewood, you could use it hard for it to catch fire. It's also known as ironwood. But it's one of those things, once you finally get it lit, it burns long and hot. So, but yeah, a little briquette wouldn't be too bad on there. If you have a piece of tile, like if you did a home remodel or something like that, and you have tile, you could use that. I don't know, old cereal bowl. Make sure it's stoneware or ceramic instead of plastic. So yeah. All right. So going back to water. Water is a pretty simple element to work out. Oh, hold on. And bomb mine in my incense. So here it is. It's just a little cast iron cage kind of a thing, and and it's the little pop top's off, but it's pretty gappy. So I've got basically it's a mason jar lid in the bottom, and to hold the ashes so they would fall through and make a mess. But yeah, just a little cast iron type of container. So yes, I hope that answered. Let's see. If you're stressed with or have something going on, yeah, rinse the energies off of your hands using water. And if you are just add warmth to your water, you're adding fire element. So you're getting a kind of a 2-for-1 energy there. If you're washing your hand in hot water, and cooler water is generally regenerative and invigorating. If you've ever taken a hot shower and it's suddenly switched to cold, that cold water is often quite invigorating.
Become very invigorating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Houses like this one, yes. Someone flushes the toilet, turns the sink on, anything like that, and suddenly, boop, yeah, it's a cold shower. If you stop and think about it, our tears even, because they are salt water, they're an excellent conveyor of spiritual intention. So like tears of joy, tears of sadness, often if you collect those tears, just even, I don't know, like a napkin, Kleenex, something like that, you can use that in your own personal rituals. Or you can use them in potions that are a witch jar, for instance, that you're trying to tie the property to your own energy or your own essence.
Instead of peeing in it?
Yeah, instead of peeing it. And if you're crying, I suppose you could sneeze into a Kleenex and it'd work as well. But tears are pretty easy to create. But just whatever emotion you're experiencing, that's when you release the tears, that's what's going to become part of your spell or your ritual you're working. So for instance, when you yawn, if you do it right, it's often well up and are watery. Well, do you really want tired tears in your ritual?
Yes.
Depends on who you're pointing it at. If you want your kids to go to sleep, tired tears are not necessarily a bad thing. Chris, YTFP Chris, no, scraping your pipe does not count as collecting rosin. It's a different kind of rosin.
That's a resin.
Okay, well, different. I don't know that you'd want to burn that ceremonially on your altar.
What?
I don't know. You might.
It's an offering.
It could be. Yeah, it's so.
It's not much different than tobacco.
True. Well, a little bit. Yeah. Our friend Kat uses it to paint with. Did you know that?
Yes, I know
that. Yeah.
Is she doing a resin drawing?
I don't know. Did you see the waves that she has hanging up?
No.
If you check out the waves, she did that with a paintbrush in her mouth, and just holding it steady with her hand.
Okay.
So our friend Kat has some health issues, and they're slowing her down just a little bit, unfortunately. But as artist, in spite of or despite of, or whatever the right word is, yeah. Let's see. So remember that since you are mostly composed of water, you're going to resonate with water more intimately. Your body's going to recognize it faster. And so if you're, trying to communicate love, for instance, it's going to move a lot faster with water than it probably will with smoke. Because just think about it. You blow soft and they're not going to feel very affectionate towards you.
It's much better.
Sure, why not?
Here's my sacred spit.
So, yeah, it just...
From me to you. Here you go.
Well, maybe that's what the toddlers are doing when they're all snotty nosed. I love you, Mom.
Don't need to know any of that.
Yeah. Kids, I tell you, they're walking petri dishes. So let's see. When if you're trying to do divination with water and the moonlight, for instance, if you're in an area where you're outside, preferably, and there's a pool of water, and the moon is just rising or setting or just firmly shining down on the water, you can see the reflection. Often that makes it easier to do the water scrying. And since the moon does govern water's ebb and flow, the surface very much mirror-like. If you unfocus your eyes, the shimmer will twist and turn, and those the images that you might see, similar to like a crystal ball, will show up. And just make sure you're putting them all down in your journal, because there you may see symbols or things that don't really make sense in the moment. So if you write them down or draw them out real quick, that way you can look them up later when you're not in the middle of doing your divination. Let's see. Yeah, moonlight on water is just awesome. Deb says moonlight on the ocean is very mesmerizing. Here where we live with the big old lake in the background, yeah, just watching the moon rise over the mountains and reflect off the lake is just fantastic. Fantastic. Let's see. So, also, another way that you could do divination with water is just by observing the way items that are floating might move. So you might use laurel leaf or a leaf of some sort that is connected with you. And if the leaf goes onto the water, before you voice a question, so you toss the leaf onto the water before you ask the question. And for instance, a leaf that sinks will probably be answering your question positively. So again, journal it. Make sure you're writing down your questions, your leaf, you know, what you're trying to get answered, and anything else that you might see in the water when you drop the leaf and when it sinks, and how quickly it sinks. In tarot, the water element is represented by the suit of cups. As the element of water itself, the suit of cups focuses on our conscious feelings and our chosen relationships, so the family that you choose. Each card reflects another way in which we express ourselves in word and deed, as well as the inner workings of the complex creature called love. And I will have links to this information in the show notes. Additional symbolic meanings for cups include inventive nature, the ability to imagine, self-expression, and a feminine or receptive energetic vibration. And so yeah, if you're not feeling very receptive to your tarot messages, you might not get very many cups in your reading. Or on the flip side of that, if you're getting a lot of cups in your readings, maybe you need to be more receptive and trying to a little bit differently. So in numerals, it's not Saturday night, so it's not Saturday night math, but the element of water is aligned with the master number 22. Oh, come on, computer. So in numerology, the master number 22 is the builder of numerology. It takes our dreams and aspirations and it helps us to manifest them, just like the water element does. And success is inherent in the master 22. Due to a strong intuitive nature coupled with discipline. So the saying, water always finds a way, reflects these characteristics. So just like the billions of drops of water in the ocean, the potential with 22 is quite limitless. So yeah, water will always find a way. Ask anybody who's ever tried to make a dam. Or make the shower stop dripping. when the shower is kind of worn out. Yes. The water will find a way to drive you nuts. Let's see. In the astrology, the water element governs Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Pisces isn't really a shocker because that's the fish. Both moody and insightful, the Western zodiac water signs have a tendency to bring people together just like a fresh body of water gathers thirsty souls. And like water, these personalities often have trouble with boundaries. They leak into any crack and crevice, sometimes ending up in quite a pickle. Of the three, Cancer people lead the way, providing initiative. Scorpio is very thoughtful, and Pisces is forever swimming off with the tide and doing their own thing.
You think?
Yeah, pretty much. We have a lot of Pisces people in our personal lives.
Yes, we do.
Oi. Trying to get everybody doing the same thing at the same time is often a challenge very much in and of itself. Kind of like herding cats with a broom. So, like the ocean, astrologically speaking, water symbolizes layers and undercurrents. If you don't look closely, you're likely to miss important matters about these people. This spirit also has a propensity to overlook completely, which makes some people quite uncomfortable. Be prepared for unanticipated, startling observations. I work with a gal who's got a friend who's a Cancer, and she's just an odd duck. So, yes. Happy almost birthday, Ethan. Let's see here. Well, we've got a couple minutes before the break. Yeah, we're going to stop there for the moment. And remind y'all to send me an email if you get any questions or looking for more information than what I might provide on the shows. That's wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. You should grab the heathen and put him on camera.
No.
Why not?
No.
Why not? It'd be fun. It's a 6-month-old cat. He's about to lose his brain because I'm making a noise.
What brain?
Exactly.
He's 6 months old.
Cats are such funny little creatures. Let's see. Anyway, so yeah. I have started posting some of the book pages for the book that I wrote onto the Patreon site. So if you're a Patreon patron, you're seeing them before everybody else. Just saying. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And then, man, if I can have 3 days in a row of uninterrupted time to just get stuff done, I'd be done with my graphics. But Mini-Me is a lot more demanding than that.
Don't you dare knock anything over.
He's a cat. Isn't that kind of...
And there he goes. And that's what I was afraid he was going to knock over.
What did he knock over?
Well, he almost knocked over that whole bit of thread, which is missing like lots of thread.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it missing so much thread?
Because it got knocked over. I knocked it over.
Oh my gosh.
But I put most of them back up.
I'll
So,
poke
anyways,
myself in the eye.
don't do that. It'll hurt.
There's your cat. There he is. There he is.
Your little brat. So we're going to go to break. There's probably not going to be any music at the top of the hour because there hasn't been in a while. And so we'll play the singing bowl. And then, yeah, we'll be right back after the break. And I'll see if I can catch the little brat and show you what he looks like. One moment. Or a couple moments.
I, O Lord, within the sun, as we will, so mote it be, the spell forever done.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between. Let's see. I think fish tanks are awesome. So yes, I have a fish tank. It's a itty bitty one with 2 little jerkfish in it. Absolutely little jerkfish. So, anyways, we are doing the singing bowl. Blah. Let's see. So yes, singing bowl is a water element. Sometimes my chat room is such a bunch of goofs. But they're awesome. I love you guys. Let's see. Is it a terrarium if you don't have very much dirt and it's mostly water? Or is it an aquarium?
Think about that question you just asked.
It's got water and it's got dirt. Is it a terrarium or an aquarium?
What do you keep in it?
I don't know. Water and dirt.
So has it got more dirt than water?
Doesn't matter.
Sure.
Why?
Because there's dirt at the bottom of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a tank.
Yeah, but this is Terra.
So you specifically asked about a terrarium.
Yeah, is it
Therefore,
a terrarium or an
it would be
aquarium?
a terrarium. Goodness. Unless you have a beta in it. Betas can live in 3 inches of water their entire lives.
Yeah. That's not very nice, though. So, anyways. So, let's see. Earlier, so tonight we're talking about the element of water. And for those of you on YouTube, yes, there's water in the background. It's a waterfall. And apparently everybody's had to go potty a couple times, which is funny. Let's see. Earlier I mentioned some different stones that are associated with water. Others would be blue agate, aquamarine, fluorite, iolite, lapis lazuli, lepidolite, moonstone, and silver. And then other plants would be like willow and aloe, lemon, violet, lotus, iris, pitcher plant. I have lotus seeds. How do you start lotus seeds? Sweet flag, water hyacinth, floating hearts, water clover, hornwort, zebra, horsetails, and cattails. So I keep seeing my chat room go night-night. It's not fair. It's not fair, I say. Let's see. So if you are dreaming about water, so I sure hope... okay, naysay, that's funny. If you're dreaming about water and you have to go pee, don't actually go pee in your dream. You'll wake up startled, so don't do that. But water appearing in your dream can have, a variety of different meanings, depending on like its color, for instance, whether it's calm or rough, or even the state of the water. So, like, for example, ice might represent a situation that is static or frozen. Murky water might mean hidden matters or things that are troubling you. Or being splashed by water might be a wake-up call to something that you've kind of swept under the carpet and are totally ignoring. So you're probably going to need to remember to write that down in your dream diary. Because, yes, remember, we do dream diaries. Let's see. And just real quick on that one. And I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again because, yes, Yeah, if you get a book talking about the different things, um, the meaning of different things that you might see in your dreams, for most of them, it's going to be pretty neutral, and there will be quite a few different things covered. But a lot of them are going to be specific to you because there are things in your life that are going to be have more meaning to you. For instance, if you I'm trying to think of something that just kind of maybe you slipped and fell in a creek. This is one I actually did. Slipped and fell in a creek and almost drowned. Um,
Or sitting drunk in the Sea of Cortez in less than a foot of water and drowning.
yeah, basically. Except for I was 7. What's your excuse?
I was drunk.
Um, anyways, I was just something that, that particular scene will always, replay in my brain. And so, yeah, it's something that just kind of kicks around. I'm sure that judging by Don's memory of the Sea of Cortez and floundering in the very shallow water there, things that he's just going to remember. Hey, Justin, yes, you are late. Understand other obligations. And thank you for the trip. It was quite fun. Really appreciated it. And we're going to have to do that again soon.
Soon.
Soon. Very soon.
Soon.
How soon? Very soon.
Anyhow.
Yeah, we didn't catch it.
Hello, Lady Death.
Elaine dreamed of Cher.
Share? Like Share? Share? Like sharing?
No,
like
Cher like...
breaking bread kind of share?
No, Cher like the musician.
Oh, jeez.
I would say if you're dreaming about Cher, you have a lot of confidence.
or ego.
Which could also be called confidence.
Yeah, okay.
And you like looking fabulous in a variety of headdresses. Yeah, just dream symbols, dream things. Remember, you're writing them down. Often they're very, very specific to you. Let's see. There was a thing I was going to mention, and I got distracted by a random thing. So, squirrel moment. Dream interpretation and analyses. When researching the meaning of your dreams, make sure to consider all possible interpretations. So the analysis of a dream can change based on one's knowledge of a dream symbol's evolution. For example, during the Middle Ages, gloves were given to people as a sign of honor and approval. In the Victorian era, gloves represented propriety, convention, and refinement. And today, white gloves project an image of a finicky person who's overly concerned with details. So each of those meanings are very valid within their own settings. So it's just really changed, over the years. So yep. Just be aware, different things mean different things in different settings. So
yeah, well, just like any book that has like, a tarot book, it's got, the breakdown of all the cards and blah, blah, blah. But those cards can mean something totally different than what the book says. That's just kind of the first example, excuse me, that pops in my mind.
Absolutely.
And then when you get to the older Futhark and even the younger Futhark, those have specific meaning, but they can mean different things to different people. So you can't, it's not just a one size fits all, this is what the book says, this is what it means. No, because you have to consider what it means to you.
Yep. Absolutely. So, often if you're dreaming about water, it might be more of a psychic type of dream. Changing tides may mean that so a tide occurring just before sunup is generally one of introspection, but one at dawn is generally like fertility. Yeah, noon tides of tenacity, and dusk transformation. And a tide at midnight is for healing. So yeah, very very open to interpretation. The ocean is the Earth's womb and beginnings of all humankind, also representative of the subconscious, superconscious, or the Jungian collective unconscious. So, tides, Tides, not tates, tides.
Titan, Tighten.
Is that tight tights?
Titan. Megamind.
Let's see. Among many Native Americans, water appearing in dreams indicates your spiritual state. For example, if the water is flowing smoothing, your spirit is calm and moving in a natural direction. So baptism dreams may be a new life or forgiveness towards yourself, renewed purity of thought and actions. Hot water dreams, troubles afoot, so be aware. Drowning in your dreams in
that
water
could be a problem.
means you're overwhelmed by circumstances, problems, or emotions that threaten to defeat your efforts or sense of individuality. Although it may also reflect a memory from a past life experience. So, floating on water, dependence upon your feminine nature or a mother figure, or skimming the surface of a spiritual potential without ever really diving in and experiencing the aspect of self. Dreaming about stagnant water, for instance, often means that there's something unhealthy to the point where it causes a standstill in personal growth and your quest for wholeness.
Oh.
And shallow water, it generally represents a frivolous personality that avoids delving into any aspect of life too deeply. Or it can represent a fear of confronting your own subconscious. So, but surfing means you're on water. It means you're taking control of and accepting the power in the feminine aspects of self and the universe. Also maintaining a rather haphazard balance between the intuitive nature, which is water, and the conscious self, which is, the surfer. So
Haphazard. It's haphazard. It's kind of flippantly.
Mm-hmm. So, ripples on water surface indicate waves of energy that we send out without even knowing it, similar to a web. This will eventually touch everything and everyone because you are part of the network of life. Lake dreams, as the abode of several magical creatures, including Lady of the Lake and water nymphs. Dream lakes reflect the search for the wonders that lie just beyond the surface of reality. What does the surface of the lake cover? Are you fishing there, therefore trying to catch a little magic, for example? So, yeah, make sure you're writing things down, because if you're not writing down the different things you're dreaming about, how are you going to figure out what they could possibly mean? Because they all are a little bit different. And to just ignore something it means you're ignoring a lot of the importance of the items you're dreaming about. So, is the dog bugging you again?
No.
She just wants to be on camera. The dog's an attention or a camera stealer. Let's see. What else? I had more here. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. I've already talked about that. So water often reflects back what is, similar to a mirror. So it'll help us to see our true nature or our true colors. So we can feel it holding us afloat, gently, relaxing on warm waves as we relax in its embrace. So that could be during meditation or could be during dreaming. Either way, as we imagine it, we're feeling the life force of the energy moving through us, much like a river of light that is just vibrant and alive. Generally speaking, we relate to water quite naturally as a metaphor for many good and soothing aspects of life. And water is a very, very teaching element as well. Let's see. So what else do we know about water or want to know about water? Water transforms. Water is a very, very significant shapeshifter, for instance, from a drop of rain to a rivulet, or stream, and then to a river, joining with an ocean or lake. In the whole cycle of the evaporation and rain and such, what is it that you need to change form and become more malleable or more adaptive to the variables and the things that, oh geez, Pete, you goofy cat, that you might encounter.
Don't let him on the soundboard.
Nope, I'm not letting him on the soundboard. He just scared the bejeebers out of me. So, here, Boda's on camera. This is Kubota. Real quick, say hi. His little heart's going dum 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 dum. Bitty Boda here has been
terrorizing.
Yes, well, he's kind of hit that teenager state where he has to run amok and be kind of a pest.
Kind of a pest?
Kind of a pest. He's a good kitty. Mostly a good kitty.
Little gochujang?
He's kind of scrawny.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a lot scrawny.
He's very scrawny.
But yeah, the transformative nature of water, especially if you're dreaming about it, or again, it comes up during meditation, it'll help you to see where you might need to change things. Where do you need to soften up, or where do you need to be more firm, or let go of the experience or the expectation of sameness, for instance. But mostly, it's like, remember that the form that we are in now is quite temporary. It's just one aspect of our journey. And, water moves around obstacles as if they're nothing, because water really doesn't know what an obstacle is.
Metamorphs.
It morphs into other things. Absolutely. So when you're thinking about it, what lessons does water have to teach you? Or what are you ready to learn from water?
Go around it.
Over it, under it, through it.
Water will go around. So if you're at a stuck spot in your life, go around it. If you're that stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, not
but it does come back to bite you, so it's not something you can ignore.
Right. Let's see. Water is fluid. Water is in motion.
Water is fluid.
Right. Elaine, you're funny. So Elaine says, I live in Washington State. We don't really get excited about rain.
No.
Ever.
Nope. 2 seasons in Washington. Warm and cold rain.
Warm rain and cold rain? Yeah. Yeah. You guys have so much humidity in Washington that it just falls out of the sky all the time.
I don't know why Justin's laughing at Elaine. He lives down in Oregon. The only thing they have there is cold and ice. During the winter, that is.
And humidity. The last time I was in Oregon, it was so humid.
I was staying with a friend of mine on this stupid hill.
Mm-hmm.
We walked down. I don't know. It was winter time, and there was nothing but a sheet of ice. We couldn't get back up to the apartment. We had to like go around like 3 blocks and go around. It was horrible. All I wanted was a stupid bagel and lox and a coffee. That was it. It was a long walk for a stupid bagel and coffee.
I saw a video earlier. I haven't been on social media much lately, but it was a video that was on Facebook, and it was over in Europe somewhere, and they had a bunch of freezing rain, and the whole video is this gal trying to go basically a third of a block, but she was wearing Uggs, and Uggs are not known for the amount of tread that they have. And she crawled about halfway up the block, and then she stood up, but there was just enough slope that she slid right back down. So, yeah. Yeah, water. Ice. Even ice is in motion. So, yeah, water nourishes life as long as it is in motion, and water that sits still stagnates and grows quite putrid. If you doubt that, let your child put water in a bottle and forget about it under the bed. Yes. So water is the element that we relate to as our emotional body from ancient traditions. Emotions are energy in motion. We know that if we attempt to stuff our emotions, to ignore them and not express them in some form, such as talking, crying, singing, dancing, etc., that they, like water, become stuck energy, which can take the form of depression or physical pain or illness. With water as your teacher, imagine water in different forms: rain, waterfall, ocean spray, waves, etc., and let it guide you into emotional expression, perhaps in a way that you haven't expressed it before. Water is a sculptor, so we often see how the rocks change form over time as the constant or chronic flow of water plays over the surface and creates new grooves, such as a waterfall, or eventually shifts to the form entirely, like the waves creating a new shoreline, depending on the dynamic of the interplay. Feel into the water element as a sculptor or creator and let the lessons flow. Where do you need to be persistent and patient, trusting that your constancy will create the change in the solid structure that is needed, like a waterfall? Or where do you need to get huge and thrash about and change the dynamic entirely, like ocean waves breaking down and changing the shoreline? Breathe into this dynamic, imagine other ways that water interplays with land over time, and be open to the lessons that water whispers to you. Now, sometimes those lessons are quite subtle and quiet, like the flow of rain. Yes, sometimes they're quite dramatic. For instance, in the Midwest, there's been at least one instance where there's a surprisingly massive earthquake, and it caused like the Missouri River to flow backwards. That's not something that happens often. And so that's pretty much that's an indicator that you need to change something. So if you're dreaming about rivers flowing backwards, yeah, that's a big deal. Naysay lives near the Red River, which flows backwards naturally. It's one of the 2 rivers in the U.S. that flows against the flow, so it goes backwards. Instead of going towards...
Seriously?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it flows from the U.S. up to Canada and from there into...
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yep. Rather than down towards...
To the center of the earth. Towards the center, the equator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So we know... in the beginning, from various cosmology stories, water was one, if not the very first element from which all life springs. So water is considered the giver of life. It's a requirement for life, at least on this planet. Life cannot come into being without the presence of the water element. We and our Earth are more water than anything else. Our earliest experiences, even beyond conscious memories for many, is being held by and floating in water as we floated in our mother's wombs. Water is the first element we came to know as it gently cradled and held us. Let's see. I am going to stop there because it's almost last break time. I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it.
I was just thinking I may call it quits right at break here.
So Murray 2020, I see you in chat, and to my knowledge, Duke will be on right after the show here on TFR. So
probably.
That's my understanding. So yes. We're going to go to our last break, and then when I come back, we'll finish up on water, and we'll see what else we have time for. So we'll see you in a few.
of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. We're on our last half hour on this lovely Friday evening here in North Idaho. And we've been talking about water, the element of water, and some of the properties associated with it. And so, yeah, it's been kind of, I gotta tell you, this year's been quite the adventure. I am so ready to wash my hands of it and move beyond. Yeah. So, just let's see. Blah, blah, blah. So talking about water, yep. Water is one of the four elemental energies or primary elements from which all life is created, along with fire, air, and earth. So getting into water or no water as your teacher is a great way to begin to work with water as an elemental energy. Basically, water becomes a healing agent anytime our sincere intent is set to use the essence of water as such. If you want more information, I strongly recommend you do some research and journal it. Oh, shoot. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, just a moment, Naysay. So, yeah, just like any other tool, when we're talking about the elements, journal your experiences and, what you're trying to learn, what you're using the elements for, and the results you get when you're using any of the elements in any of your rituals. So, on that note, before I lose my mind too much, Naysay is on the air. Hold on. Hey, Naysay, how's it going?
Well, hello, my favorite kitchen witch. How are you this beautiful evening?
I am good. I'm a little cold. It's been trying to snow off and on.
Oh, yes. As I do add to the cold, well, I don't add to the coldness. I feel the coldness here in the Fargo and Moorhead area. It's starting to go down this weekend. But I wanted to share about water. I have an extremely high relationship with water this week.
Okay.
I am on my winter solstice fast of day number 5. And I am drinking water literally like it's going out of style. But one thing that's so remarkable about water is its electromagnetic aspect of it. If you were to take like a laser pointer and point it through water, the water will diffuse the energy. And then if you add a few little crumbs or bits of salt, then you kind of change the composition and you make it more conductivity. And then the laser beam will shoot through the water. One thing to my research of health, when you, and I'm not a doctor or nurse, but I'm way into staying alive. But if you can look up H2O3, where you hyperoxygenate water, this can be done by getting a surgical standard hydrogen peroxide. I think they do now make some organic, natural hydrogen peroxide. And if you drop 3 to 4 drops of this into water, you elevate the oxygen level. And when you create a higher oxygen level in water, when you drink it, you create an environment that is antimicrobial, where viruses and bacteria and fungus aren't easily able to survive in such conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
it's
one
just
more
the
quick.
healing power of water,
Okay.
you know, and the healing and cleansing power of water. It, it's just something people need to be more aware of and use more. It made me giggle a lot over the last year, seeing all the soap shortages. It's like, well, you know what? Apparently, all these people haven't really washed their hands much before now, so it makes you wonder how much water they really use, and are they using it right? I mean, instead of putting it on their yards, they really should be washing their hands.
Oh, I kind of go a little bit crazy about this whole hyper wash your hands, because how many people read the ingredients of the soap that they use?
Yeah.
And is it a natural compounds? And they're just adding all of this horrific chemicals and additives and preservatives into the water system. But
Yeah.
one last thing I wanted to share is, as an Anishinaabe, more times than not, the women, when it comes to rituals and ceremonies, the women will hold the water. And this is because of the full connection that women have with water. They are allegedly even more, up to 5 to 8% more water than men are. And this is why it's a little bit critical to pay attention to the moon cycles, because that also affects the water that's within you. And we all know that water is life and water is sacred. So when you go to urinate, what type of elements are you adding to the water? If you really think water is so sacred, what about the water that is within yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Should that not be the best, purest, cleansest, or cleanest water that you take?
Yes, it should be. Because when you drink the water,
And I am a hypocrite.
yeah, why are you a hypocrite?
I am a hypocrite. I do coffee, and I do specialty coffees, and yeah. So I'm not on a pedestal. I'm not a righteous man. I'm just trying to live a righteous life.
Well, and that's all you can do. Just the best you can.
But thank you so much, Paisley. I so much enjoy your show,
Well,
and
thank you, Mason.
I'm glad I took a nap earlier, because usually I'm really tired during my fasting, and I'm glad I caught it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Toodles.
Thank you. Bye, Nase. Yes, the fasting is quite healing, and it will often quick start your metabolism, and is just a good way to flush other toxins out. But make sure you are drinking plenty of water when you're doing the fasting, because you want to make sure you're getting that other stuff out of you also. All right. Let's see. Looks like I have one other caller. So area code 971, you're on the air. Hello?
Hey, Paisley, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
Okay. Hey, this is Justin.
Hey, Justin, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good. I just wanted to add into the whole water discussion, because I really think that flowing water and really ultimately flowing energy is super important. People take things for granted, you know. They take the rivers for granted. They take the wind, everything that's going on around us for granted. And this isn't necessarily something that's going to always happen.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, in my opinion, And it's totally my opinion, but I think you have to protect these things, and you have to make sure that this is not going to be taken over by, the powers that be or government,
Mm-hmm.
and from us, because
It's well,
it's important.
it is important, and mankind has not been very good to its waterways. Here in North Idaho, we've got the Silver Valley, which is south of me a little bit. And Silver Valley has quite a few silver mines, and they've been mining silver there for a couple decades now. And because mining deep into the earth often requires tools and equipment and chemicals often. The Silver Valley is a Superfund site, meaning there's a lot of contaminants in the dirt and in the water through there, and it all runs downhill. And it's run right down the Coeur d'Alene River and into Lake Coeur d'Alene, which flows into the Spokane River, which flows into the Columbia, which flows into the ocean. And, it's frustrating because you're right. People forget that, water is connected to everything, and what happens here impacts people thousands of miles away. It's just like the Fukushima nuclear facility when it was damaged by the tsunami. We're still dealing with that radiation leaching into the water here on the Pacific coast, even though it's been a long time since that happened. And it's all related, it's all connected, and yeah, we do need to take better care of it. And just because we don't see it happening in our backyard, for instance, people not taking care of the water here, there's other nations around the world where the water is not very clean, and they don't take very good care of it, and diseases are travel that way, and contaminants, and it's just frustrating. Yes.
Exactly. And you can't just stick your head in the sand and go, okay, well, we're just going to wait and hope that things get better, because if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem, really. I mean, honestly, you're just enabling these large companies and these, trillion-dollar corporations to just exploit your land and control you, basically. If you're not standing up in the way and saying, hey, and I don't want to sound like a activist or whatever, but I am an activist. I really care about our country and what's going on. And honestly, I used to consider myself an extreme liberal, but now I'm a little leaning toward the other way, because the liberals don't seem to care what's going on with our country right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little more focused in another direction. And what's happening is the big business is weeding out the little people, and everyone that's paying attention to our environment and everything are being stifled. And that really scares the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Because here in Oregon, we were always really super conscious of our resources and our nature, and logging, and everything is super regulated to where it wasn't exploited. We only clear cut areas every 50 to 70 years. It was a really good situation, and we don't cut down the main, the old growth forests and everything. We don't touch them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been the thing. But now that's starting to change because of this new administration that's coming on, and it's really scary to me because they're trying to destroy all of our infrastructure, our old school infrastructure that is working. It's been working. They're trying to fix what is not broken.
Yes. And government is really good at trying to fix the things that aren't broken, and creating the new, and that's government in general, not just any one particular party. But it seems like they can't help but meddle, which is frustrating. It's like it wasn't broken, leave it alone.
Yeah,
But like,
it's the administration period.
Mhm.
Like you can't even pick a party because the parties are divided. You can't pick a party. It's people pretty much just trying to control things from a control aspect, not necessarily for what's best for us or our country or our people.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that to me is very unfortunate and frustrating because it's like trying to control the uncontrollable, telling the ocean to stop with the tides or the wind to stop blowing. There's just some things that have to happen. Just like, do you have a permit to collect rainwater for your garden?
No, but I do it anyway.
Okay, well, don't say it very loud and don't give out your address, because in Oregon, for instance, that's considered public property, and you can't collect legally the rainwater that falls off of your roof that fell out of the sky that nobody owns, which I don't understand the logic of that one. It's just
They do it extremely in the Oregon farms, the Southern Oregon farms. They try to regulate how much rainwater they can actually collect. It's the other direction. They tried to say that you can't collect more than X amount of rainwater for your farm. You have to rely on the aquifers and the city supplies or the regional supply of water that they mandate. They tell you can't collect natural water, and that is absolutely against
this is weird to
everything.
Me. Yeah, that's weird to me because
Yeah.
you'd think it'd be better for the environment to collect the rainwater than it would be to empty the aquifer.
Right, and that's what we have. That's all we have in the Pacific Northwest. We have water.
Yes.
And you know as well as I do, it rains and rains and rains here. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have. That's our resource is water. Mm-hmm. So for them to tell us that we can't use our own natural resource that comes down every day, like seriously.
Yeah.
75% of our year is rain. That is our resource in Oregon and Washington and British Columbia and, Northern California.
Yes.
It's rain.
Mm-hmm.
And they're telling us that we can't have that resource. We can't control that resource because that belongs to the government. I think that's bullshit.
It is.
And sorry to curse on your stream.
I get it though. It's like they've forgotten the sacredness of the element of water itself and the universal aspect of the element of water itself. And they're trying to possess something that is unpossessable.
Right. They don't have the right to tell us that we cannot use our resources. They don't have the right to tell us that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know, like, where we live, the property that we live on has 2 ponds on it. These are not natural ponds. They were man-made back in the 70s. And if they were to be recreated today, they would not be allowed because it would disrupt the natural ecosystem because there's some wetlands area and we're a stone's throw from the river. So people, the EPA would get involved and say, hey, you got to fill those in, which I'm kind of surprised the EPA hasn't come along and said, you got to fill those in anyways, because they are man-made. But, it's, for us, it's a resource because it's a hand-dug well. It's only about 20 feet deep, and during the summer, the property is set up to drop a pump into one of the ponds to bring water up so that it can be used for irrigation purposes because the well just isn't robust enough to water the garden. And it's just the natural resource on the property. And so I suppose, as far as I'm concerned, mineral rights are mineral rights. It doesn't matter if it's water mineral or silver. It should be, if you have the mineral rights, it should be all included. So, but
Well, you have water rights too,
mm-hmm.
and you can use those water rights you can use that water for energy, for everything, to feed your gardens. You can use that water to generate electricity. Mm-hmm. You can use that water to do everything. That is energy. The flowing water in your area is energy. Mm-hmm. And you should be able to use that. That's a right.
Yes, but
that is a constitutional right.
Exactly. It should be in.
You can't tell us that we cannot collect rainwater.
Right. Well, here in Idaho, we're having problems with the state of Washington trying to. They've been insisting that they have water or the right to the water that we have here in Idaho. It's like, but it's not in your state. They're like, well, it will be, but that's not the way it works. So, yeah, it just goes back to taking care of our resources and respecting our resources. And just like if you don't respect fire, it will burn you. If you don't respect water, you won't have it anymore. If you don't respect air, it will be fouled and you'll look like, early or late 1800s London. Everything's going to be black from the smoke. And it's just, you have to pay attention. You have to respect the world around us. I suppose that's part of what I like most about being a pagan is it's natural for me to respect the world around me. It's not forced. It's not anti my beliefs. It's just, part of my world, just part of my natural world. And I just see so many people who say they're religious or devout that don't have that same respect or that same care, if you will, for our natural resources. And it's frustrating.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's very frustrating.
And if you don't, I totally agree. And if you don't stand up against these people that are trying to take these rights away, you're going to lose it. Mm-hmm. You have to stand in the way. You have to be loud, just like they are, mm-hmm. and say, we're going to stand for this. Mm-hmm. And sorry if I sound like an activist, but it's real.
Well, it's not necessarily an
they
activist.
Are really.
It's a realist. You're being real in your approach and your desire to take care of the world around you, and that shouldn't be considered activism. That should be considered normal. You should want to take care of the world around you. You should respect the world you live in.
Yes. Our waterways should not be restricted, and we should not be charged for a natural flowing energy source that is coming through our region. We shouldn't have to pay for that. on my own property here, on my property rights, I have water rights
Mm-hmm.
from a river that's close to me called Owl Creek.
Mm-hmm.
It says it in my property right that I have the ability to revert water from Owl Creek, which is about 1.5 miles from me. But that's within my rights.
Mm-hmm.
I should be able to do that without any restriction whatsoever because that's in my lease. That's in my
Yep.
my property ownership paperwork.
Yep. All right.
And everyone that owns property on these rivers should have those rights, and they should be able to stand up for those rights and take those
Mm-hmm.
liberties.
Yes. Well,
People just don't.
we're just about done. I've got about 6
Sorry.
seconds. No worries. You're all good. I get it. It's your soapbox. It's real.
We're
gonna talk about more stuff tomorrow night.
Lord, within the sun.
Thank you, Justin.
As we will, so mote it be.
Love
All
you guys.
Love you too. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow night.